Here are this week's PoolTogether community podcast highlights. What does VP mean? What are your responsibilities? Just some insights into the club.
Yeah, for sure. So we do quite a lot of stuff at the club. We have quite a few verticals. So that includes events, that includes research. We run actually a Web3 entrepreneurship seminar as well, twice a year. So there's that education part as well. And then we have the accelerator. I also look at some of the governance stuff as well. We have governance for Uniswap. I think as a student group, Stanford Blockchain Club does quite a lot of things.
But you have a whole blockchain week coming up next week. So what does that look like?
It's mainly revolves around the Sciences of Blockchain conference, which is one of the top blockchain academic conferences basically in the world. It's run by Professor Dan Bonnet's lab. So this year, what we at Stanford Blockchain Club is doing is a new thing. So we're creating a pre-conference called BAS, or the Blockchain Application Stanford Summit, in which we're highlighting kind of more of the entrepreneurial, more of the industry, more of the Stanford ecosystem side of things, as opposed to the very rigorous academic conference. There's also a bunch of other side conferences. So we're all wrapping these all together and bringing everyone together for an entire week of events called the Stanford Blockchain Week.
Where do you see us going in crypto?
I mean, one of the things that I've been looking at recently is kind of a revival in the whole Bitcoin ecosystem, whether that's through Ordinals or more of talk about building layer twos on top of Bitcoin and all of that stuff. That's one. Another very interesting one that I think is going to be relevant is the whole idea of social applications and how kind of Web3 is moving away from just disrupting finance. I've been looking a bit at stuff like collab and this type of stuff. One thing that still needs to be improved upon a lot is the fact that Web3 has an education problem. It's very hard to get someone non-crypto native and turn them into someone that's crypto native. And I think actually AI is going to play a big role in that, because one of the good things about AI is it kind of acts as kind of a flattener in a sense. If you look at the bytecode on Etherscan, you're able to turn that into a human readable form. And so I'm very looking forward on seeing how AI is going to be used in order to reduce Web3's kind of educational barriers, as well as kind of barriers to use. A lot of what actually intrigues people and actually onboard people into crypto in the first place is they hear about it from other people. I mean, of course, numbers go up, people get interested. A lot of it's actually to do with media and how do you market it out to the audience. I think to build these successful apps, you have to turn it into a short one sentence description. But I believe that it's not necessarily the financialization that's going to be the biggest draw, but the creation of new experiences. Perhaps tokenization or financialization is maybe one way that you can do that. But it's how do you actually bootstrap up with a Web2 social network, and through that kind of add on, say tokenization or some incentive mechanism, and then turn it into something that is Web3.
Can you just kind of give me the case for Ordinals and ways that the PoolTogether community could engage with Ordinals?
I've opened Pandora's box here, unfortunately. I think from a macroscopic perspective, it's Bitcoin is the most decentralized, it's the most well-known blockchain that there is out there. It's the most liquid coin. There's so much stuff going on there. But even though it's got the most name ID and stuff, all of the innovation and all of that, so how do we actually port all of that back onto Bitcoin and to actually leverage Bitcoin utility and stuff like that to create a very native DeFi ecosystem? That for me is a very exciting prospect. And I think Ordinals plays a very big role in that by allowing things to be a lot simpler. To some extent, Stacks and Lightning also do that, but I think it's just abstracting away all the technical details and then allowing people to build these upper level kind of new ways of transacting value, or new ways of new ecosystems, whether that's through NFTs or through DeFi and stuff like that on the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Is there a site or a place? How can somebody get onchainsummer.xyz is a really great base bridging, something you can do on base immediately. So is there something that's similar for Ordinals?
I think just looking at some of for example, some of the NFTs marketplaces, I know that Magic Eden has a big Ordinals thing. So it's just, I think stuff like that would be really interesting to just look at as a first step. If you guys like what we're doing at Stanford Blockchain Club, feel free to support us at Stanford Blockchain Week. I'm partial to the Stanford Blockchain Review. It's reviewed.stanfordblockchain.xyz. We publish stuff with the graphic for. I recently just released an interview that I did with Stani from, Aave and Lens. on basically how Lens is pioneering like new forms of experience. So feel free to check that out.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thanks for dropping the link. Review.stanfordblockchain.xyz is the newsletter. This looks awesome. Thanks for listening. You can download the full episode of this week's Pool Together Community Podcast on your favorite podcast app.